Are you a Donald Trump fan?
Donald Trump, a man who believes his fame gives him the right to grab one of your daughters or sisters or mothers.
Oh boy, Lady Gaga just took off the gloves and went full bad romance on Donald Trump, exposing him like never before. You thought you knew Trump? Well, Gaga just spilled the kind of tea that makes your grandma clutch her pearls and your MAGA uncle flip the dinner table. From shocking secrets to jaw-dropping revelations, she didn't just call him out, she made the entire country rethink everything.
Some people want to win races. Other people want to be president of the United States and change people's lives. It's about the intention. I believe that will reveal itself. People are smart. And I am hopeful that our nation is coming together. There's a lot of young people that really, really love each other. And if we can reestablish that human connection and get everyone to start speaking, I believe this divisiveness.
Lady Gaga unleashed a verbal fireworks show on Donald Trump. And let me tell you, it was more explosive than a 4th of July barbecue at Mar-a-Lago. This wasn't just a lighthearted jab or a cute little diss. No, Gaga went full bad romance on him, leaving his reputation gasping for air like a deflated Trump balloon at a failed rally.
For more than half of this country's life, women didn't have a voice. Yet we raised children, we held our families together, we supported men as they made the decisions. But tomorrow, women will be a part of making this decision. Today, I am holding in my heart. Today, I am holding in my heart all the tough, tenacious women who made me who I am. I cast my vote for someone who will be a president for all Americans.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe. She called him out in a way that was so theatrical, Broadway producers probably took notes. This was a Shakespearean-level dragging, a monologue so brutal that even Macbeth would have stepped back like, damn, girl. Trump, the man who somehow turned the White House into a reality show that made The Apprentice look like PBS Kids, got read like a pop diva reading bad reviews. Except this time, there was no comeback, no lawsuit, no desperate truth social meltdown that could save him. Imagine Gaga standing there, draped in an outfit made entirely of metaphors sharper than Melania's side-eye, delivering lines so ruthless that even his spray tan probably faded in real time.
He claims that he represents people who have been unrepresented, who haven't had a voice.
I think what is most important is for us to try to decipher now what is real and what is not, and what is honest and what is dishonest, and be accepting of those things, and not operating from...
And let's be real. If anyone can take down a man who thinks cuff-F is a word, it's Lady Gaga. Bad romance? No bad presidency. And Mother Monster had time today. And let's be honest, it's about time. The man has been running around like a malfunctioning animatronic from a discount amusement park, waving his tiny hands in the air, yelling about witch hunts, and treating the Constitution like it's an IKEA manual that he refuses to read. And Gaga? Oh, she just grabbed the metaphorical mic, stared straight into the void that is Trump's moral compass, and said, "You thought your scandals were bad? Hold my mic."
Right now it's time for action. It's time to muster all of our energy, every ounce of us, every ounce of hope and optimism and enthusiasm, every ounce of fear and frustration and discouragement. Now is the time to show up and vote like this country depends on it, because it does.
See, Trump has spent his whole career, both in and out of politics, pulling off stunts that would make even the most dramatic pop star say, wow, that's a bit much. But Gaga, she was like, step aside, I have receipts. And not just any receipts, the kind that make even his most devoted supporters pause for a second before mumbling something about fake news and crawling back into their MAGA bunkers. For years, the world has watched Trump act like a businessman who somehow managed to lose money running a casino. A casino. A place designed to make money no matter what. And yet somehow he fumbled it like a toddler trying to carry a gallon of milk. And let's not even talk about his stint as president, where he made more questionable decisions than a cat trying to jump onto a ceiling fan. Gaga, on the other hand, knows how to put on a show. And this time, the show was called Donald Trump the Musical, a comedy of errors. She laid it all out, his endless stream of lawsuits, the sketchy business dealings, the hypocrisy so thick you could cut it with a knife. It was like watching a roast, except instead of comedians, it was just facts slapping Trump across the face in rapid succession.
It's supposed to be for VIPs, right? Now he's got Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is not too big. I could tell you plenty of stories. I could tell you stories about Lady Gaga.
And of course, his response? A masterpiece of delusion. You could practically hear the incoherent, all-caps tweets forming in his brain. He probably tried to type out a response, but got distracted trying to remember how many American flags he needed in the background of his next rant about how he's the most persecuted billionaire in history. It's always the same song and dance with this guy. First, deny everything, even when there's video evidence. Then, blame someone else. Hillary, Obama, the wind, the deep state, that one guy at Starbucks who spelled his name wrong. And finally, claim that he's the victim, as if he's some tragic Shakespearean hero instead of a guy who treats classified documents like takeout menus. And look, nobody's saying that Lady Gaga has single-handedly ended Trump's career. The man has more political lives than a cat with a lawyer on speed dial, but she definitely turned the spotlight up to maximum brightness. And if there's one thing Trump can't handle, it's the cold, hard truth. Especially when it's delivered by a woman with a more successful brand, a better spray tan, and a fan base that actually sticks by her because they like her, not because they're waiting for tax cuts.
And it could be Donald Trump.
I have nothing to say of him.
Trump's entire existence is based on convincing people that he's a genius businessman, a mastermind strategist, and an all-American hero. But in reality, he's the political equivalent of one of those gas station hot dogs that's been spinning for 12 hours. Overcooked, questionable, and definitely not good for the country. And Lady Gaga? She just walked in, pointed at it, and said, "Y'all see this, right?" So now, the real question is, what's next? Because if Trump has proven anything, it's that no amount of reality can shake his confidence. He'll probably double down, claim that Gaga is part of some elaborate deep state conspiracy, and then sell autographed copies of whatever nonsense he scribbles onto a napkin during his next fast food binge. But here's the thing. This isn't about politics anymore.
And I just want to say tonight that trans people are not invisible. Trans people deserve love. The queer community deserves to be lifted up. Music is love. Thank you.
This is about basic common sense. It's about recognizing that the man who once suggested injecting disinfectant might not be the best person to make important decisions. And if Lady Gaga had to be the one to spell it out in big, bold neon letters, then honestly, that's the kind of political theater we can all get behind. So, hats off to Gaga. She didn't just call him out, she put on a full Vegas-style performance, complete with backup dancers, a mic drop, and an audience left gasping at the sheer spectacle of it all. And Trump? Well, he's probably still trying to figure out how to turn this into a fundraising opportunity because at the end of the day, the man doesn't care about the truth. He only cares about the brand. And that, my friends, is exactly why he got exposed in the first place.
To do it myself. I know it's not.
Now, if you thought Lady Gaga was the only singer taking shots at Donald Trump, think again. She's far from alone in this battle. Music legends like Bruce Springsteen and John Legend, alongside his outspoken wife, Chrissy Teigen, haven't held back when it comes to roasting the president. And trust me, they didn't just criticize him, they went in so hard you'd think they were auditioning for a Comedy Central roast. Their words were so brutal, you'd almost feel bad for Trump. First, Bruce Springsteen never needed a teleprompter to eviscerate Trump. His entire career was built on singing about the struggles of everyday Americans. the very people Trump pretended to champion while handing out tax cuts to billionaires like they were free samples at a grocery store.
Donald Trump is the most dangerous candidate for president in my lifetime. His disdain for the sanctity of our Constitution, the sanctity of democracy, the sanctity of the rule of law, and the sanctity of the peaceful transfer of power should disqualify him from the office.
The boss didn't just call out Trump, he practically made it his side hustle. While Trump was busy hugging the flag like a long-lost lover, Springsteen was reminding everyone that patriotism isn't about draping yourself in red, white, and blue. It's about making sure the country doesn't turn into a reality TV show gone wrong. And let's be honest, if anyone knows what working-class Americans want, it's the guy who spent decades writing anthems about factory jobs, not the guy whose idea of hard work is yelling, "You're fired" on national television.
He's such a flagrant, toxic narcissist that he wants to take down the entire democratic system with him if he goes.
And I didn't need little Bruce Springsteen.
Springsteen didn't just stop at a few jabs. He made it his personal mission to be a thorn in Trump's side. While Trump was busy declaring himself the law and order president, Springsteen was out there writing songs that made it painfully clear who the real criminals were. And no, it wasn't the protesters demanding justice, it was the suits in power making shady deals behind closed doors. Trump's version of America was all about golden escalators and cheap campaign slogans, but Springsteen's was about the grit, the struggle, and the people who actually built the country. The irony of a man who dodged the Vietnam draft trying to wrap himself in the American flag wasn't lost on the boss, and he made sure everyone saw right through the act.
Are you surprised that he's trash-talking you after all this time?
Not really.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. The stewardship of the nation has been thrown away to somebody who doesn't have a clue as to what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Springsteen, we have a much bigger crowd than Bruce Springsteen, right? Much bigger. Hillary got Bruce Springsteen, I'll never forget. And the place was pretty full. Not full like our places are full, and I don't have a guitar.
But I think that he's really preyed upon that part of the country, because he gives these very glib and superficial answers to very, very entrenched and very difficult problems. But they're answers that sound pretty good if you've struggled for the past 20 or 30 years. So
Now, John Legend, on the other hand, has never been one to mince words. And when it comes to Trump, he practically turned political shade into an Olympic sport. While Trump was busy throwing tantrums on social media like a toddler denied a Happy Meal, Legend was out here hitting him with reality checks harder than a grand piano falling from a skyscraper. Trump liked to pretend he was the greatest thing to ever happen to Black America, but Legend wasn't buying it, not even at a clearance sale. With every smug tweet and clueless policy, Trump made it painfully clear he had all the self-awareness of a goldfish, and Legend had zero patience for the nonsense. He didn't just criticize Trump, he dunked on him like prime Shaq, reminding the world that a man with a golden toilet probably shouldn't lecture anyone about economic struggles.
Platform to criticize President Trump substantially.
Yeah, because he deserves the criticism. He's done some awful things in America, and he's, I think, a really terrible person as well.
In what way?
I think he's selfish, he's racist, he's misogynist, he's a liar, probably the worst liar we've ever seen in public life. He's really ill-informed, a narcissist. I could go on.
You could.
And let's not forget Trump's pathetic attempts to win over black voters with cringeworthy pandering. Remember the time he bragged about what he had done for the black community like he was expecting a standing ovation? Yeah, Legend wasn't having any of it. While Trump was busy staging awkward photo ops with rappers who barely tolerated him, Legend was out here actually advocating for real change. Trump's whole persona was built on empty promises, and Legend made it his mission to pull back the curtain and expose just how hollow it all was. There's something poetic about a man who can effortlessly win EGOTs making a fool out of a man who couldn't even win the popular vote.
He's made it clear throughout his life that he believes black people are inferior. Like he believes that to his core, in his bones. He wouldn't let us live in his buildings back in the day. But also, when you hear some of the stray comments he makes, he clearly believes in a...
Then there's Chrissy Teigen, the undisputed queen of eviscerating Trump with a single tweet. While Trump's speeches sounded like a malfunctioning AI trying to string together words that almost made sense, Teigen's insults were poetry, sharp, precise, and absolutely devastating. She turned Twitter into a gladiator arena where Trump was the unwitting contestant stumbling around while she delivered knockout blows with the effortless grace of a seasoned champion. His paper-thin ego never stood a chance. Teigen's roasting skills were so brutal, they should have come with a warning label, because watching her destroy Trump in 280 characters or less was a form of entertainment America didn't know it needed. If Trump was the villain in this never-ending political horror show, Teigen was the final girl, standing tall and making sure he knew exactly how ridiculous he looked every step of the way.
Everyone's talking about you and Donald Trump. If you had a chance to have a face-to-face with him or a conversation,
I would never. I would never. Never.
Look, that was serious.
I know. I mean, I just can't. I think I would throw up in my mouth. I don't even know how. It's just not possible for me. It's broken the lines of like, well, let's bring the parties together. No, it's far past.
Teigen wasn't just roasting Trump for sport. She was holding him accountable in the way the media often failed to. While networks tiptoed around calling out Trump's absurdities, Teigen came in swinging, saying the things everyone else was too afraid to say. And the best part? She didn't even have to try. Trump practically wrote the jokes himself. She just delivered them with the perfect amount of sass. It was a battle of wits, and Trump, armed with nothing but his fragile ego and a Twitter addiction, never stood a chance. Every time he tried to fire back, it only made him look more ridiculous, proving once again that he was completely outmatched. And of course, Trump being Trump, he eventually blocked Teigen because when you can't handle the heat, the only solution is to pretend the kitchen doesn't exist. But even that didn't stop her. She continued mocking him from the sidelines, knowing full well that he was still reading every single word. And let's be real, there's no way Trump wasn't keeping tabs on what she was saying. If there's one thing he hates more than being criticized, it's being ignored. Teigen didn't just win the war of words, she turned Trump's own ego into her greatest weapon, leaving him flustered and defeated in front of the entire internet.
What I appreciated was on Twitter the other day, seeing your response to being blocked by Donald Trump.
Of course, I mean, it was bound to happen.
I mean, was it bound to happen? Because I was kind of surprised that he actually blocked you. Were you?
I was surprised that at the one that got me blocked, because it was a very throwaway comment. I've definitely said worse, but yeah, it's so funny to me. It's so silly.
Lady Gaga, Springsteen, Legend, and Teigen didn't just dislike Trump. They obliterated him at every opportunity. And the best part? They did it effortlessly, using nothing but their voices, their platforms, and the undeniable power of the truth. While Trump was busy crafting his own alternate reality, these three were out here making sure America never forgot just how ridiculous the whole charade was. And that, my friends, is what real influence looks like.